The excuses for George R.R. Martin not finishing Game of Thrones are getting even more absurd at this juncture. He's literally doing anything other than trying to work on this book. How many years has it been at this point? He has to be the fattest, laziest writer in all of fantasy fiction. And, the real reason he didn't finish this, I'm going to call it out right now, is because he knows that he wrote this setup that was not going to have a payoff that made sense, and it was not going to be worthy of being one of the best fantasy sellers ever, and it wasn't worthy of this giant epic TV show, and so he couldn't finish it. He got paralyzed because that success did not match the quality of the books. It is a meandering mess. I hated it, by the way. I couldn't even get past the first book. It's a meandering mess with too many characters. It gets really, really worse as it goes along. And all the characters that you even can root for are dead by the time you even get into it. And he's already got an ending with the show. I know he's not satisfied or happy with the ending of the show or whatnot, but, who had a hand in that? He pretends he didn't, I guess, but geez. At this point, it's really, really ridiculous. And we're going to get into what he's saying as he has his time eaten up. That's not all that George Martin's eaten up. It reminds me of that, remember the Austin Powers... I'm gonna eat your baby, get in my belly. That's what he looks like. Oh my gosh. But yes, this book's never gonna get finished, and that's really, really sad. Please hit the like and subscribe button here as we talk about everything science fiction and fantasy, all the important topics of the day, guys. We are about books first here, and I am a fantasy writer myself. This is my 6-book series and my bestseller, The Adventures of Baron von Monocle. These books get done. They're action-packed. They're fast-paced. There's characters you can root for all the way through. And there's a lot of changes and twists that a lot of people didn't expect once we get into the later books here. You'll really enjoy this if you like good fantasy. It's nothing like George R.R. Martin. None of the bloated stuff. Fast-paced. It's something, like I said, you'll enjoy. Check it out. Read some great fantasy fiction today. Here's the entire series for you. I'll put that link in the description below. Make it easy for you. And thanks so much for reading and making this a bestseller again. It's been popping up over the last month, and I appreciate readers like you. All right, so Game of Thrones offer. George R.R. Martin says he's not made much Winds of Winter progress lately as TV shows ate up his time. I guess watching TV shows ate up his time, because what's he talking about? Game of Thrones creator George R.R. Martin said he's made little progress lately with the latest A Song of Ice and Fire book. He's not been working on it at all. He's come out with other books, by the way, and just release them. He'll do anything other than work on these books. I mean, literally anything. As he says, TV shows ate up most of his time. Martin shared an update in yet another blog post where he discussed his mounting stress levels. It's not that I never understood this. Like these guys, when I first came into the industry and first started writing, and I've got about 19 novels done now, and I started in 2017. What's his excuse? They always told me, like, I remember I got canceled, of course, by these mainstream publishers and the like. And I vividly remember this post from a big editor in the industry who said, JDA will never get into the, he'll realize writing is such hard work and not want to do it. And he'll flame out, in the next couple years. This was 6 years ago now? Oops. Writing's fun. It's amazing. I can't wait to get off of YouTube here and just start writing today. It's like all I want to do. And this is an indicative of just somebody who doesn't want to work. Again, I just think he knows he doesn't have an ending. He never had one in mind. He can't stick the landing, and he knows that whatever he comes up with is not going to be worth all that buildup. And with that, he's creating his own stress. So that's it. The first half of my year was pretty miserable, he said, before explaining a close friend died suddenly in January. Well, I feel bad for him for that, I guess, but I've read enough Kickstarter updates of projects that aren't coming out to be like, I'm sorry I couldn't get this done. My kidney was hurting this week, and my sister was in the hospital. Almost every late project on Kickstarter has this like litany of excuses just like this. He said, nor did I find much solace in my work. There you go. Writing came hard, and even though I did produce some new pages on both The Winds of Winter and Blood and Fire, the sequel to Fire and Blood, the second part of my Targaryen history, I would have liked to turn out a lot more. I wonder how many pages he actually came out with for real on this level. Very interesting. I'd love to see any of that work because I actually don't believe he did any at this juncture. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, how many years are we on this? 12? Jeez. My various television projects ate up most of those months. Some of that was pleasant, Dark Winds and The Hedge Knight. Most of it was not. Now, this is an interesting here. Let's pause again. What about these television projects? So he's not a writer on the show. He's not a showrunner on the show. He's not part of it, from what I understand. Just kind of like a consulting role. So what's he doing? He's definitely not working on this stuff. So he's just watching other people work, I guess. I mean, that's what it seems like he says, and that's kind of crazy. Why would you just sit there and watch other people work all paralyzed, pretending you can't just spend an hour a day on the one thing that your fans have been asking for a decade? That's insane right there. I could never imagine something like that. The stress keep mounting. The news went from bad to worse to worst. What news? My mood seemed to swing between fury and despair, and at night I tossed and turned when I should have been sleeping. When I did sleep, well, my dreams were none too pleasant either. I think this is a function of diet and lack of exercise. I'm going to diagnose this right here, Mr. Martin. If you just hit the gym 3 days a week, just do some light cardio. I mean, you don't need to push it at your age. And maybe just kind of get rid of that fatty, high carb diet. I think you're going to feel better and sleep better. Maybe try that because your health is important and I want you to be better. Okay. I got you there. I think that'll fix your sleep problems. It's unclear which TV show he means, and he works on many silver screen projects beyond those related to Games of Thrones. Yeah, but never mentions any of them. But the author expressed frustration with House of the Dragon. And this is interesting, too. He did do that. He mentioned House of the Dragon was not really following his author ideals, which if they're not following it, and he's not working on that, and that's kind of the major thing that's coming out of his work right now, what is he doing? I again, just don't believe he's doing any work whatsoever. It's just making excuses. He's spending time, probably trolling the internet, thinking about these TV shows rather than being a part of anything. That's what seems to be happening here. Your one job is to be a writer here. A Song of Ice and Fire fans will be disappointed to hear a lack of Winds of Winter progress, especially after hearing practically the same thing in 2023. Yeah, like I said, these excuses just rain thin. They really are. I mean, there's no excuse not to write for 2 years. That's crazy. At the time, he says he's written around 1,100 pages of the book, same number he'd been given a year earlier, so that's 2 years of no progress. There's plenty of work to be done without actually increasing the page total, of course, and he's not doing any of it. I mean, this is kind of an excuse from IGN right here, trying to stand for him. But we don't do that here. We don't mince words. We know what's happening. He's just being lazy. He's not working. And he did a blog post, another one, which they did not talk about, where it seems like the main problem with his inability to work is you guessed it, Donald Trump. Oh, gosh. And believe me, we need that more than ever before. The world, the country, and yes, certainly me. This has not been a good year for anyone. It's been a great year for me. What are you talking about? I've been happy. Things are fantastic. 34,000 subs. We have a great Kickstarter campaign crushing it. Things are better than ever before. All these woke projects are dying on the vine. I'm happy. I'm loving life. I don't know about you guys. With war everywhere and fascism on the rise. Yeah, I mean, the war thing's kind of lame. But again, that's not really the fascist's fault. That's the commies' fault that you really simp for. I mean, do you really think that all this would be happening if it wasn't Sleepy Joe at the wheel there, guys? Fascism on the rise. Nonsense. So there it is. On a more personal level, I've had a pretty wretched year as well, one full of stress, anger, conflict, and defeat. I need to talk about some of that, and I will. I was away from my computer traveling July 15th to August 15th, so a lot of things that needed saying did not get said. Okay, couple things here. So fascism on the rise is the reason you can't write your freaking book? I mean, you're mad about politics? Just turn off the freaking news, George R.R. Martin. Just do it. It's not that hard. I have not watched a news program in years, and it's been fantastic. I feel great. It's made life good. I don't have any stress at all about this stuff. Don't care. And it's been just amazing. But again, this is a weird thing. Away from computer traveling July 15th to August 15th. Well, this is great. I'm glad you're off the internet, I guess, but you're not, obviously. But don't laptops exist? I mean, just bring a word processor, bring your laptop, don't connect to Wi-Fi, and get your book done. It's not that hard. Oh gosh, these people are just insufferable. But they were propped up by the mainstream culture for a reason, because they were pretenders. And this entire mainstream cultural structure right now is all a bunch of pretenders who are trying to create great works that were coming before. They couldn't muster it up. And so now it's all falling like a house of cards, and it's funny to watch. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Watch out for those fascists out there. And please check out For Steam and Country and its subsequent sequels, all 6 books here. I'll put this link in the description below. This is fun fantasy, and I get books done every year or two, and you'll have a lot of fun with this. It builds up very, very nicely. And yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. Really appreciate the readers out there. We'll be back soon.